Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the K&B Music Den. I am your friend, Keith, and you, sir.
As always, I'm Brad.
As always, Brad, how are you this weekend, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I just got back
Good.
from the record store. I had a gift certificate from my mother-in-law and scored some good stuff, man.
Yeah, it sounds like we crossed paths.
Yeah. Just different times, right?
Yeah, I was there in the morning.
Same store, different time.
Mhm.
So, folks, we are back with Discnology for R.E.M. We did not forget about it. We just had a delay through I'd say through the holidays, but now it was January, so I don't know what my excuse is this time. But hey, these actually do take a while to prepare, and we want to make sure we do them right. So,
Yeah.
again, we always appreciate your patience on these, but we want them to be good. So we
Yeah.
take the time that we need. So this, I tell you what, this one, I'm sure a lot of people have been anticipating. By some, by many, and I can certainly understand why, considered their favorite or the best REM album. Um, and that's Automatic for the People, of course. So this is the series that I was telling you about, you folks about, and Brad, where I was lucky enough to score versions of a bunch of these albums in this part of their career, their discography, almost said discology, where you get the album on CD, but then you get an entire extra disc on of a DVD, which has a little documentary, has some extra photos. It has a different kind of version of the album, like a higher quality audio or whatever. So really cool. These are like a 2-disc. You can see it's thicker there. These
Mhm.
are very hard to find, especially in the States. So very lucky to have these. So man, we're almost about, I guess, halfway through their career now. Um, so Automatic for the People, before we even get into the details on the songs, where does this one, or did this one even before you listened intensely, rank for you in their canon?
Well, I think you can probably agree that now that we're doing this, things change a little bit because you're spending a lot more consistent time with each album, and you
Yeah.
can hear the progression. And for me, this album just you can tell this is where the big step was taken.
Yes.
This sounds like a band that just put it in overdrive on this one. Um, yeah, I mean, when I going through this album, listen to it, I always knew this was a top 2 or 3 REM album. I always, wanted to decide where do I have it, where do I place it, but man, after spending this week with it, it's going to be hard to knock this one off. This was a fantastic album through and through.
Yeah, this is, I mean, we use and maybe overuse sometimes the term perfect album. Um, this is damn near perfect, if not perfect.
It's close.
And we'll get into that as we dissect it and go song by song here. This for the longest time, this was always hands down my favorite REM album. And it's we've got one coming up here in a little bit that is I absolutely blows my mind too, and it's kind of 1A and 1B almost. This one still just holds a very special place in my heart, which we'll get into that with some of these different songs. But it's people that follow REM certainly know that this is an album. Some people may not know this. They actually set out to make an all-out rock and roll album, and then this just kind of happened. So I guess the rock and roll album they were setting out to make became the next one, Monster, which we'll
Yeah.
get to. But this album ended up having a lot of lyrical themes centering around death,
Mm-hmm.
mortality, the passage of time. Um, so yeah, I mean, there's some really just fantastic lyrics on this album, to say the least. Um, do you know much about where the album title comes from?
Yeah. Yeah, that came from an eatery right there in Athens. A
Weaver
little
D.
motto they had.
Yeah, Weaver D.
Yep, you got
Yep,
it.
right there in Clark County, Georgia. You are correct. It was Weaver D's Delicious Fine Foods, the restaurant was
You
called.
got it. Absolutely.
And I watched the documentary that's on this other disc here, and they have Weaver D's in a lot of it. And
Oh, really?
yeah, it's really cool to see him. He was so just excited that they wanted to have this affiliation. And
Yeah.
I guess I think it was. I hope I get this right. He had these special peanuts that they made there that they always had in little bags at the counter. And so when REM did their promotion for this and sent out the promo copies to like the radio stations and different industry people, they sent a package of peanuts with Weaver D's address and promoted his restaurant as
Yeah.
well. So that was a big coup for them. I actually saw in my research that once the album really started to take off, there was the automatic for the people sign, and someone stole it. Um, and then, and this is in true fans of REM fashion. Not too long after they stole it, they returned the sign with $10 and a written letter apology.
Yeah, that sounds like an REM fan.
It doesn't it? I thought that was a funny story. But yeah, I mean, let's dive in here, man. Let's not waste so much time here. Let's get right
Sure.
into the songs. Well, yeah. I've had so much fun and just nostalgia of diving into this album again. It was an absolute pleasure. So the first song, as you had said earlier, that they kind of put it into overdrive here for this
Overdrive, yeah.
album. So here is Drive. Now, you may know this song is a nod to the song Rock On by David Essex. Hey kids, rock and roll, rock on. Hey
Yeah.
kids, where are you? Nobody tells you what to do, baby, etc. This song really doesn't have a chorus.
No.
It's just kind of a million verses strung together if you think about it. Which honestly, early on when I was really digging into this album, I liked this song, but I never initially loved it because it was just kind of like a flat line for me. But I grew to love it, and I tried to ask myself why, because it still just kind of does the same thing throughout. And I was thinking, why does it work though? Why do I love it so much, and why is it a great opener? And then it kind of hit me that you could be arguing that the song doesn't go anywhere, but the way that the dynamics build in this song, where things keep getting added, especially those strings,
Mm-hmm.
and that lead guitar, that comes in
Yeah.
later, and the fact that they don't give you all that in the beginning, they kind of make you wait for it. I think that's why this song works so well. How does this song work for you as an opener, Brad?
I love it. I mean, and I like to break from the beginning. And for the
Yeah,
same reason you're mentioning there, it's not necessarily verse, chorus, verse, bridge, your song structure.
yeah,
This is just kind of a feeling, a vibe that just builds, 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 builds throughout the track, leading into the next one. So I really liked it.
yeah. This is, seems to be a favorite among a lot of REM fans.
Mm-hmm.
And we always talk about they have such really, really strong openers to their albums. And this is definitely another one,
Oh, I
you know.
agree, 100%.
Um, and I like that, I don't know how familiar you are with that old song, the Rock On song.
Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of neat how it kind of takes that as an inspiration, then just does something obviously completely different. So very, very cool. Strong way to open the album, this amazing album. So track 2 is Try Not to Breathe. We go from the opening kind of drone of Drive into this song. Let me have you start this one. What are your thoughts on this one, buddy?
Well, this is going to sound crazy, but as of now, after sitting with these albums, this is my favorite REM song. Not just on this album, but on the first 6 that we've got. Oh, was it 6, 7? I don't even know what number we're on.
I might be 7 now, yeah.
But I absolutely love this song. Love this song.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm glad I just randomly asked you to start for this song, and wow, I'm glad
Yeah.
I did.
I mean, I remember liking the song before, but as I just put the record on and sat with it and listened to it, man, I don't know what it is about the song. I can't even really describe why I love it the way I do. But it's just so, to me, it hits lyrically. It's got a really just strong lyrics. Melody wise, I mean, everything about the song comes together in such an REM classic type sound.
Yes.
A little dark on the REM sound, but I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, dude. I mean, this song is amazing. Definitely one of the strongest songs on the album, and that's hard to say. I mean, every song is so great on this, but gun to your head, you end up picking favorites. Now, lyrically, you could probably tell that this song is about an old man who's tired of his life, but he's still clinging to it. So it's kind of a dichotomy there. Now, I found this very interesting, and I picked this up watching this documentary here that I have. they were going to cut an acoustic demo of this song, and they had the microphone very, very close to Peter Buck's guitar, about an inch away from the sound hole. And they told him, they said, "Hey, you have to be really quiet because of how close this microphone is. You know, when you play, you got to be really quiet."
Hmm.
And he was like, and this was just like a demo. It was just like music at that point. And he just off the top of his head said, "Okay, I'll try not to breathe." And dude,
That's
Stipe
it.
Stipe just took that phrase and created this whole masterpiece just from him saying that,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy. And again, just the brilliance of Stipe. We
Oh,
beat a dead horse. We beat that dead horse, but we're gonna keep
that's
beating
yeah.
it.
There's nothing else to say about that at this point.
Yeah, I mean, jeez. Now there's barely any percussion on
Hmm.
this song if you really listen, but what is there is perfect. I mean, that bass drum in the chorus, I mean, it sounds like
Yep.
thunder from the gods, dude.
Yep.
It's great. And as usual, those staggered harmonies
I
with
love it.
Mike Mills.
I love it.
I
That's
mean,
that's that's a real big part of what makes me really. I don't know that Mills stat. I mean, when you put them two together and the way
yeah.
they stagger, oh my gosh, it's a sound that's hard to match.
Yeah, I mean, when Stipe is like, "I need
Hmm.
something," and Mills like, "Something to fly." I mean, it's
Hmm.
just, dude, it's so, I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of these things where, like I've said before, I think with REM, their melodies and their harmonies, they're so unique and they're so effective. But also, like when you listen to them, you can't imagine the song going any other way.
No.
Like it's almost like they make it seem so obvious that that's what would be sung, but it's totally not.
Yeah.
um, so there's a lot going on there, songwriting wise, producing, arranging, the whole thing. But wow, yeah. Well, I don't have to ask you now. A spoiler alert: what your favorite song on this album is, because you just said
No.
it's your favorite on the past
I
six
gave that to you.
attempts. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't blame you, man. That is a terrific, terrific song. Um, so the Sidewinder Sleeps Tonight throws us a bit of a curveball here after the first two songs. It really picks up the tempo and the energy, which I think was a good spot for this at number three.
Yeah.
Um, have you wondered, or do you know what a Sidewinder is, generally speaking?
Well, and I thought there's options on this. I think there's storms that could be considered sidewinders. I think a
Okay.
snake. There's a snake that's a sidewinder. I don't know
Hmm.
which way he was going with this, but
Well, the research I did referred to it as a small rattlesnake. So
okay, yeah.
you were right. Um, so this song. I mean, the lyric starts about basically, if you really listen, it's trying to get into somebody's apartment to crash for the night. Is really what this starts out about.
Yeah.
But then it just goes all over the place, man, with the Dr. Seuss stuff and the candy bars and the
Yep.
and the fallen stars, and it's all over the place. But for me, I love this song. And like I said, I think it's slotted great at number three. But for me, I think lost in the silliness and the wordplay of this song, which is really, really clever and great. This is a tremendous vocal performance by Michael Stipe.
It is. It
I mean,
is.
if you really listen, the parts where he's going, ah,
Mm-hmm.
oh, oh," which he's really singing and not like I did there.
Yep.
That is not easy to hit and over again like it does in this song. So he's really, I mean, I think on this album, he's always had a great voice, but this album, I think Scott Litt, the producer, stretched him even more, took him to that
Mm-hmm.
next level. And the proof is in the pudding.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think there's a line in there. I can't remember because I don't usually take too much notes on the lyrics of these when we're doing these,
Yeah.
because you have most of the notes on the songs. But there's a line in there where he says something like, "Tell her she can kiss my ass so that she
Yeah.
knows it's really me."
Yeah.
I don't know why that always just sticks with me. Where I think that's really funny. Like she would understand it's him based on the fact that he
Yeah.
says, "Tell her she can kiss my ass."
Yeah.
Such a tight thing. I mean, amazing.
It's funny you bring that up because he slides things in there. And I'm gonna get to a song later on this album. I'm gonna be quoting some lyrics where it's like, what did he say?
Mm-hmm.
But gosh, yeah. And this is another example where if you would sit and just like read it as poetry, it's just like, wow, like this is so unique, so unique.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so well, here it comes, man. Here it comes.
Everybody hurts, Keith. Everybody hurts.
Everybody hurts, everybody cries sometimes, but hold
Sometimes,
on,
hold on. Yep.
hold on, dude. I mean, this a big part of you growing up in the '90s? I mean, did the
Well,
song speak to you like it spoke to me?
it was because of MTV. Because at that time it was new. MTV was getting pretty new to me.
Yeah,
Um, we didn't have cable a whole lot where I grew up. So when we
yeah,
first got it, this was one of the first songs that I heard on the channel. And the video was very just a depressing video. That
yeah,
traffic jam.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean this one has nostalgic reasons for more than just a song for me.
This video is. I'm glad you mentioned the video. The video is so iconic.
Mm-hmm.
Where the song's just playing along, and you see all these people in these different cars.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they're having arguments or they're sitting thinking to themselves, if they're alone in the car about something that's going on in their life. And there's these little subtitles throughout the video
Yep.
of what everyone's thinking. No one's saying anything, but they're all thinking it. Brilliant.
It is.
Now, I think, back to the song, of course, I think the band and Scott Litt as producer were very wise to use sparse instrumentation in this song
Mm-hmm.
until the outro, so you really focus on the lyrics. Um, Now, in my opinion, Michael Stipe masterfully sings this song like he's singing to you and only you.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. It's a
Um,
very intimate sounding vocal.
Yes, it is. Now, I was surprised to learn that initially when he wrote the lyrics and then he tweaked them. Um, the part sometimes everything is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now he sings, now it's time to sing along. And the way it goes into the next part, when your day is, and this was so great. But he initially wrote sometimes everything is wrong, even the singer of the song. And then he decided to pull it because it was too
Two
personal,
person.
too much.
Yeah,
And I think the way it ended up turning out anyway, it sings better anyway. That sounds a little awkward to sing that, in
yeah.
my opinion. Um,
It's
but
interesting. It's very
yeah, it
interesting.
is. It's very interesting. I could talk about this song for an entire video, so I won't. But I do want to say it has been. This is just not my opinion. This is a fact. This has been well documented. Documented. But this song, they got so many fan letters from around the world. Dude, this song is an absolute miracle. It's perfection.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we all need to hear at some point in our lives, every single one of us. Um, this song has literally saved countless lives.
I don't doubt that for a second. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it is clearly an anti-suicide song.
certainly.
Um, but it's done so perfectly. It's not preachy. It's not trying to tell you, hey, you're wrong for feeling that way. You
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't give up. What the fuck's wrong with you? It's not saying that. It's saying,
No.
hey, you know what? I've been there too. It gets better. Hold on. Just hold on.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it saved a lot of lives. Some people that I've lost in my life that I wish they would have been playing this song.
Yeah, yeah. You have had that
You know,
recently. God, yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
so yeah, if I get too deep into that, I won't be able to finish this video.
yeah. True.
But yeah, I literally wrote in my notes, this song is a miracle. It's a
Well, that's what
miracle.
sets certain lyricists apart from others is they can take
Yes.
an idea or a thought that everybody's had, but they can artistically paint it in a way that it's just so visually perfect that everyone can relate to it. And then I think that's just something that Stipe does so well.
Yeah. Yeah. If you think about some of the lyrics, if you feel like you're alone, no, 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 you're not
Yep.
alone. Everybody hurts. Take comfort in your friends. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he hit everything you would want to hit
Mm-hmm.
if you're talking to someone to talk them out of that
Yep.
with an absolutely beautiful melody, of course.
Yeah.
So moving on. I'm lighting the mood here. We'll go to track 5, which is New Orleans instrumental number 1.
What did you think of the lyrics on this one?
Uh, are you trying to see if I did my homework?
Make sure you're yeah.
Well, and it's funny you say this because they've had a couple other songs up into this point in their career that weren't truly instrumental because there was like
Yeah.
little lyric things, or just the very end had a few lyrics. So this is the first truly all instrumental song in their canon. Um, and it's simple. It's a beautiful piece of music.
Yeah.
It's I think it's nicely sequenced after Everybody Hurts. You get that
Hmm.
little chance to take a breath, like imagine you had never heard Everybody Hurts. I mean, that hits you like a freight train. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, that's perfect
but
timing. You're right.
it is good. Now, Peter Buck claims that, to his recollection, this is the only song the band ever recorded when they were just flat out drunk. So he said they went out, that they were back at the studio at like 2 a.m. Crazy things happen when you're drunk. You've got Bill Berry, the drummer, on piano on this song. You got Mike Mills on the stand-up bass, but that's not out of the ordinary. But I wanted to mention about this song, and then I want to see if you have any other thoughts on it too before we move on. This just slotting this in here, this little piece that never had lyrics put to it, a melody. It just kind of was what it
Hmm.
was. They were kind of having fun, like you said, they were drunk. Uh, this to me is a band at a supreme level of confidence, and just when you're in a zone like this, like they were for this album and this stretch of albums that were on here with them.
Hmm.
I don't know if they fully realized it. Maybe it's better if they didn't, but they could do no wrong. So, I don't know if the label was like, well, you're taking a slot for a song that's just like this little instrumental ditty for like a minute and a half. Like, I don't know. I know when they signed their contract with Warner Brothers, one of the big things that for them was they needed to have complete creative control of their music.
Hmm.
So I wonder if they didn't put that stipulation in, if some of the suits, up in the building would have said, take that little ditty out. That's you don't need that. But they knew that the album did need that. It's
Sure.
interesting to me.
Sure. It is. It is fascinating. And I think in general, the suits probably would have left it if they were listening to this sequentially through.
Yes,
Now, if they
I
were
hope so.
just picking and choosing tracks, they might, but if they've heard this in an artistic way the whole way through the track, I think they would see the reason for the placement.
I would hope.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess part of what I'm saying is, the suits don't always get art.
That's true. That's true.
So, but I hope you're right. And I guess it doesn't matter because it's on there, regardless of my fictional
Yeah.
scenarios. I just have only ever had the CD of this. So I don't know if Sweetness Follows ends side A, if it's on vinyl. I think it
It
does.
does. It
Okay, I
does.
thought so. Yeah.
Well, it's an inside drive.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't pick up on my research for this
Yep.
one. So what's side B called?
Side ride.
Drive and Ride. Okay. See, I didn't know if I thought maybe on this album they finally gave that
Nope.
shit up, but I guess
No, they did not.
well, you're on to it, man.
Yep.
Thank you for picking up on that. I missed that. Um, so, dude, I mean, try not to breathe.
Mhm.
To me, Sweetness Follows is kind of in the same
Yeah.
category, so to speak. Um, there's so many to choose from, but my favorite lyrics in this song, it's these little things that can pull you under. Live your life filled with joy and thunder.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, we were all together, lost in our little lives.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Talk to me about
No.
this song, Brad.
Well, I mean, to me, this one I don't have a whole lot of notes on it. This one ended side A well for me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This one didn't stick out to me quite as hard as it sounds like it did to you.
Mm.
I enjoyed it, but on an album with so many songs that floored me, this one kind of fell by the wayside for me. There were just
Really?
so many tracks on this album that when I went back and listened, I went, "My God!" This one I just didn't go back to mentally as much as the other ones.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of on the opposite end of that
Okay.
coin.
Okay.
Yeah, this is one of the standouts for me. Um, you know, uh, the song is obviously about grief and coming of age.
Yep.
And one of the members of the band was, I don't know if it was a member of the band in my research or someone that was kind of reporting on, what they thought of each song. So I apologize. But um, they said losing a close relative is like joining a club. If
Mhm.
you've been through it, and if you haven't, then you don't.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky as I sit here, both my parents are alive, my siblings are alive. I've lost a lot of people. I've lost some very close friends in my life, and I'm
Mhm.
going to be 50 in August. So the fact that I have my parents and all of my siblings still with me as I'm about to turn 50 is pretty great.
That is pretty
Um,
impressive. Yeah.
and I'm grateful for it. So to us in it's on some level with this, I don't like I'm not in that club,
Mhm.
and I'm glad I'm not in that club yet.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
you
not a club you
know,
want to be in, no.
no, it's not a club you want to be in. But there's haunting harmonies in this, and the strings. I mean, the strings in Drive, the strings in Sidewinder Sleeps Tonight. You know, right before it goes into the bridge in Sidewinder, it does that really quick, like it's so unbelievable. Um, Speaking of the strings, do you know who handled the strings for this album?
No, I didn't look that up.
Well, a guy you may have heard of. Well, you may have heard of his band. He played bass for a little band called Led Zeppelin.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
yeah, John Paul Jones did the
John
string
Paul's in there.
arrangements.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So I think the strings on this, they help to set an unsettling but breathtaking mood on this song.
Mhm.
So yeah, "Sweetness Follows" has always been one of my favorites on this album. So
That's I love that kind of thing about R.E.M. albums is that one of your not his favorite tracks is probably someone else's favorite track
yeah,
because they're all so damn good.
exactly. All right. Well, flipping to my next page of notes here, which makes sense because I didn't even really know it for sure, but we're on side ride now. Side B, side ride. So Monty got a raw deal. Do you know who Monty is?
I don't know who Monty is. No,
Yeah, so you count on me to do all this research.
for a lot of this I do. Yeah.
My pleasure. So the song is loosely based on the 50s screen actor Montgomery Clift.
Okay.
Um, Now, his life was interesting. He was just a classically handsome man, great actor in the 50s. And then his life kind of spiraled out of control into drug and alcohol abuse after a car accident that he had that left
Oh,
him disfigured. So imagine that. You bank your whole career, your whole life, your whole livelihood on your beautiful
yep.
face, and then you get disfigured. I mean, I can't even imagine. Uh,
Jeez.
I've never had that great of a face, so I don't have to worry about it. But Now in this song, the mandolin is used very nicely, nice mandolin parts there, but it's
Mhm.
more of like for texture and little riffs as opposed to
Yep.
like "Losing My Religion," where it's like the basis of the song. Um, but dude, I like this song. I think it starts off side B well, and kind of interesting. This is a very specific music nerd thing to say, but folks, I really want you to listen to this song if you're a music nerd. The sound they got for the snare drum on this track. Oh my gosh. I mean,
Yeah.
it is one of the best snare drum sounds I've ever heard in my life. So good. So what do you think about Monty Got a Raw Deal, buddy?
No, this is another one of my favorites on the album.
Okay. Yeah.
I really like the sound of it, the way it picks up on the ride side of the album.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. There's a line in here, and again, I don't write them down too much because I kind of go off what you're saying, but I think the line is "Heroes don't come easily,"
Heroes don't come easy. Yeah.
and I thought, man, that's a really cool, like that's almost a tattoo line right there. You know, it's the
Yeah.
way he was going through the song and wrote that. I went, man, it just stuck in my brain when I heard that little line. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, to me, this is another great track. This one is a highlight.
Yeah. Yeah. And this oh gosh, this album is so
It's
so well
packed.
so well
Yeah,
sequenced, so well written, so well performed. I mean, geez.
yeah.
You could just basically spin a wheel and be like, yeah, is that the best song on the album? Yeah, it could be. Yeah. um So now we're going to go to a song that really is quite different than any other song on this album. In my opinion, I don't, for lack of a better way to say it, this album needed a song like this, in my opinion, because there's a
Okay.
lot of darkness, which is very beautiful. But this is just a straight up political rant. Stipe singing through like a megaphone effect on the
Yeah,
track, which really bullhorn megaphone kind of thing, which really goes along with he sounds like he's on a pulpit really with these lyrics.
yeah.
Um, but this song is very, very high energy. It rocks. Okay, let's talk about again the genius of Michael Stipe as a lyricist. So and it's funny with this song, it's because of the megaphone effect and because there's parts where he sings everything so fast. I've had trouble understanding a lot of the words in this song, and I never really bothered to look them up until now. So on the one part of the song, he sings, um, he sings, "Up the Republic, my skinny ass. TV tells a million lies. The paper's terrified to report anything that isn't handed on a presidential spoon. I'm
Mhm.
just profoundly frustrated by all this. So fuck you, man." I mean, this is just like, and the way he sings it, all you're hearing really is like
Yeah,
you can't even understand it barely. But then when you break it down and really listen to what he's singing, it's like, wow.
yeah.
Um, so this is being that this is such a different kind of song on this album. What are your thoughts on Ignore Lancer?
This one's a curveball for me because, like you
Yeah,
said, I think on another album I would like this one more.
yeah,
Um, there's such a vibe to this album, such a like a I wouldn't say just dark, but it's like a heavy, it's a heavy album. And this didn't quite fit the same narrative to me. Like you said, it kind of came out of left field. So I like the song. I just don't know if I like the placement or where it's at on the album. Or this one and Sweetness Follows were the two that I didn't latch on to as much as the rest.
okay, okay, yeah. I do agree that it probably would have sounded better on a different album or
Mm-hmm.
fit better. Let me say fit better.
Yeah, fit.
Um, that being said, I've always loved this song. Um, and again, part of it just comes back to this is a near perfect album for me.
Yeah.
Um, but now Mike Mills and Michael Stipe have both gone on record as saying that they hate this song. And
Okay.
Stipe said that they should not have put it on this record.
I agree.
Okay. And again, I disagree.
Okay.
Um, now the syncopation of the lyrics, the way he's singing it, like I mentioned before, and of course the lyrics themselves are
Mm-hmm.
brilliant. And again, the megaphone effect I think is great. Yeah, I mean, I think the reason I like the song so much and the placement of it is that it kind of shakes you out of that the overall concept and the vibe of the album and the darkness and the death and the morose vibe, and which is so beautifully and brilliantly and perfectly done. But
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that this one kind of comes in and slaps you in the face.
Which I can understand to an extent. It's just
Yeah,
same thing with like New Adventures in Hi-Fi. Like if you threw this on that album, it wouldn't make sense.
yeah,
I think Constant for the same reason. It doesn't have that. It seems like it was recorded at a different time or something. Like it's just a different beast than what's
yeah.
on the rest of this album. And again, it's not a bad song. Neither
No,
is
no,
Sweetness Follows. If somebody
yeah.
just gave me a 2-track CD and those were the two songs, I'd go, wow, that's good. It's just this album is such a monster. I mean, it's so impressive. Yeah, monster
A
that
monster, you say?
that you're going to have your lower songs to yourself, but that doesn't mean they're bad songs by any means.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like sometimes I feel when we're doing this discnology because it's REM, it's like we're splitting hairs.
And that's the problem. Yeah, I mean, this band is so good. It's tricky. I mean, we can sit here and just rave at every single thing they do because you almost could. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have to eventually when we do discnology, we're gonna have to, find a band that has some shitty albums, so it'll be a little more
got
interesting.
you. So we can kind of give it some shit. You're not kidding. Yeah.
Although that would suck for us. We have to sit and listen to an album over and over again that sucks.
Yeah, true.
But I digress. So we're gonna move on to the next song, which is Star Me Kitten. Now this is described by some as a demented in quotes love song. Really, the song is did you see that?
What the hell was that?
I have no idea. I Dude, I did let me try it again. I did air quotes and it did that. Okay, so it
No,
wasn't the air quotes. I wonder if that's going to show up on the video, folks. If you didn't see, there was a bunch of confetti that came, like digital confetti that came over my head when I did the air quotes, and we
did
both
you,
were like,
did you
"Did
see
you
the
see that?"
thumbs up earlier?
No,
Yeah, there were some thumbs up on there too.
maybe I have something on that I shouldn't. I'm sorry, I don't know. It's kind of funny actually. But this and it's funny because I was about to say this song is really about sex. And the
And
confetti
the
came
confetti.
down. Let's celebrate. Everybody's favorite.
Yeah.
Now, sorry, Mom, if you're watching, but this song, do you know what the initial title of the song was?
No.
They were initially going to call it, they were planning to call the song Fuck Me Kitten.
When you said, you know what they already called this song? I was about to say that just guessing because it
Yeah,
seems such a
exactly. Now,
man.
they decided against it because you got to remember it would have been right on the back of the, it's not just a lyric that's buried in the album like it is.
Yeah.
It would have been right on the back, so they would have had to have the parental advisory on it. So they didn't want to go that route, which was, I think, it was the right thing to do.
Very smart move. Yeah.
Interestingly enough, the actress Meg Ryan
Mhm.
at the time was friends with the band, so she stopped by the studio when they were working on the album, and she chimed in as well and said, "Hey, where I grew up, which I've researched and found was Fairfield, Connecticut, by the way." Where Meg Ryan grew up at that time, she said it would be very difficult for me to buy an album that said that on the back in my town. They would
Wow.
have, a lot of the stores wouldn't have carried it because of that and all that. So they were like, okay, we're not going to push the envelope there. But so Meg Ryan played a part in this song, believe it or not.
Smart. Smart move, Meg.
Yeah. So what would that be? When Meg met Michael instead of when Harry met Sally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I'll be honest, this is the only song on the album that I could probably have lived without. Um, but that being said, I think it's kind of a cool vibe and the lyrics are very interesting. If you listen to the first words, the first verse or so, what he's singing is actually about getting 3 sets of keys made. And
Yeah.
only, yeah, so it's kind of cool, and then only giving 2 away, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's a great
Three for the
subtle.
price of one. Three for the price
Yeah.
of one.
Oh yeah, that's right. 3 for the price of 1. Yeah. And then he says, I'm gonna keep. I'm only giving 2 away, or
Mhm.
something. I don't have all the lyrics right, but I never really noticed that before because this was the song. The way it's very sing-songy and repetitive, I never really latched onto the lyrics that much till I really looked at them for this discnology. But yeah, I mean, there's a really cool organ part that drones throughout this. It's
Mhm.
kind of odd on purpose, purposeful dissonance, like we talk about. Oh, no confetti. Okay, so thumbs up. So, um, but what are your thoughts on "Star Me Kitten"?
I mean, this to me is the same thing you just said. This was not my favorite one on the album.
Yeah,
This would be a bottom 3. So the 3 that I've met, the 2 I mentioned, this one, these are the tracks I could live without, but they're all good tracks. They're R.E.M.
yeah,
tracks, but those were the 3 that I had listed as my possible skippable tracks when you're going through all these.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is the. I mean, for me, really, this is the only song on the
Mhm.
album where I would have been interested to see if they had demos of other stuff, like what would have slid in there instead.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it is what it is, and like you said, not a bad song.
No.
So okay, here we go. Track 10, Man on the Moon. A staple in their live set ever since the day this album was released, as it should be. I'm sure you know it's a tribute to the late Andy Kaufman.
It is. Yep.
Andy, did you hear about this one? He was, for those who don't know, he was a radical, offbeat stand-up comic.
Yeah.
To put it mildly, he was also Latka on the TV show Taxi. So
Yep.
that's how a lot of people know him in America, at least. But dude, this song, I really zoned in on this song because it's so overplayed for us, I guess. But I really listened to it, try to do that thing like you say with fresh ears and like
Yeah.
pretend you never heard it before. And this is another example of the little decisions that are made in the studio by brilliant musicians and a great producer, that all of these little things add up to a pop masterpiece. For example, after every line he sings in every verse, he sings, yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which, you would think if he was writing the song and the other guys in the band were like, why does he keep just singing, yeah, yeah, yeah? But it totally works.
Oh, big time.
Totally works. And they build the vocals in the chorus throughout the song. So in the beginning, if you believe, they put a man on the moon, man on the moon.
Mhm.
The first time that happens, it's kind of Stipe singing it lower, and there's maybe a little bit of harmony, but it's way buried. But then as the song goes on, I mean, that's loud and proud. Man, I remember,
Oh yeah.
and it's like, um, if you believe there's nothing up my sleeve, and then you hear Mills going, nothing in the background. All
Yep.
these little things, and they make you wait for the next little embellishment. They make you wait for the next one. These decisions in the studio, and the way that they do their vocals in particular, and particularly on this song, is just one of the many things that makes this band elite.
I agree. And like you said, even like the little nuances of it, like where he sings Andy, are you goofing on Elvis? And he goes, hey baby, he does like the
Yeah,
Elvis voice.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
it's so cool. Like, hey, I'm gonna put myself in the Elvis voice after the line. It's so cool.
Very cool. Pretty good, by the way, with your
Hey,
Elvis.
thank you. Thank you.
You
Thank you
don't
very
sing
much.
enough on yeah, you don't sing enough on this channel. We got to work
No,
on
I do not.
that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, just a pop masterpiece, pop
Mhm.
rock, I should say. Um, Deserves all the acclaim that it gets. So now we've got this great upbeat pop song, and then we downshift.
You certainly downshift.
We're
Yeah.
bringing this fucker in for a landing, right?
This is grinding the gears. This isn't even downshifting.
Yeah,
You go
exactly.
from that to where we're going.
So where we're going is we're going night swimming, buddy.
Yep, someone's pulling their night and back here. Yeah.
So have you ever been night swimming in your life, which obviously is skinny dipping?
I'll say yes once.
Oh, well, more once. Well, you know what?
See, now do you think about it?
In a way, I did once.
See, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. I won't get into all the details, but it wasn't at the ocean, let's just say. But
Mine
um,
neither. No.
okay, good. um, but this was a common thing for them with a bunch of their friends, the guys in the band down in Athens. Late night skinny dipping. It was just a different thing back then.
Mhm.
There was that fear of getting caught. And then another one of the lyrics, people that are kind of maybe hesitant to do it. Now, they feel weird maybe about their
Yeah.
bodies. I don't know. And the line where he says they cannot see me naked, um,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yep.
but just to take that playful, exciting thing that you do when you're a kid and turn it into this beautiful opus,
Uh-huh.
so great. I don't know if you remember the story I told when we did this on our podcast with R.E.M. This obviously made my perfect album. Um, but Coldplay had Michael Stipe come up on Austin City Limits as a guest.
Oh, I don't remember that. Okay.
Yeah, I have it on. I had it on VHS and I burned it to a DVD somewhere. I have it, but this was probably early, well, like around 2005 ish, as my guess.
Okay.
Um, so they did. Oh yeah, remember they did the Joseph Arthur song.
Oh, yes. I do remember that.
Yeah,
Okay. Yep.
yeah, and then they did Night Swimming. So Chris Martin introduced the song and said, and I quote, "This is the best song ever written, in my opinion."
Damn.
So it's hard to argue with the man. It's up there. Um, it's got that simple piano part, the beautiful
Mhm.
melody with those lyrics, an exquisite string arrangement. Again, John Paul Jones at the helm.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, this song has always been one of my favorites of the band. Period. Um, so now I think this is one of the best songs they've ever recorded. I know "Try Not to Breathe" is your favorite on this album,
It is.
but
Yeah.
is there a chance that "Night Swimming" is at number two for you?
I mean, for me, it's a top two or three. It's a standout for sure.
Yeah,
And I remember when we had our podcast, it was just an audio podcast, and
yeah,
we had our partner Chad at the time. I
yeah.
remember him saying this is one that he would put on every single mixtape, if I'm not mistaken.
I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, this is a song that a lot of people really do, you know, glue to, and I can't blame it. I think it only suffers because there's so many great songs on here for me that it maybe moves to second or third place. Where
yeah.
on most albums, this is a blowout. Yeah.
Well, and again, spoiler alert, because we've got a lot more albums to go. But just as far as songs, this "Night Swimming" and I believe "Country Feedback" I mentioned earlier, were kind of
Yeah.
tied for me for first place for
Damn.
favorite REM song, and that's a That's there's a lot to choose from.
It's
But yeah, yeah, just wow. Now again, this is a great example of if this album would have ended with Night Swimming, no one would have questioned it.
yes.
Just the way, the beautiful song that it is, the way the song even ends. But they had one more trick up their sleeve.
Mhm.
So they closed the album with Find the River. Talk to me about this one.
I really like the song too. But like you were alluding to, I wish they flip flopped those two songs on the mix.
Ah,
I
okay.
like the way
Okay.
Night Swimming ends better than I like the way this other one ends. Um, so to me, this one almost it's like a false start. Like that should have been the end, but then this one came in. I really
Yeah.
wish that they flip flopped those two tracks.
Interesting. Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. Yeah. I guess I'm just so used to the way it is. But
Yeah.
I could see what you're saying there. Yeah. That would have been an interesting way to go. This song was composed primarily by Mike Mills, and we always talk about how amazing Mike Mills is in this
Oh yeah.
band. Um, Primarily on the piano, of course. Now, once again, can we talk about the vocals? I mean, jeez. I
Yeah.
mean, they're just singing. They're singing the melody that they're singing like a counter riff in just like these ahs or whatever, and it's so. Oh my gosh! It just sounds like those sirens from the sea, like those
Yeah.
beautiful women that just like come up and they go. Oh, I mean, it's just unbelievable, dude.
It is. It really is. Yeah, I mean, it's this track's fantastic. Like I said, the only thing that it hurts for me is I feel like this should have been in the upper, not upper, but it shouldn't have closed. This is not a closing track to be compared to like Night Swimming. Because when you're listening to the album Night Swimming plays, you feel like you're done. It feels like you're done.
Yeah,
It almost is like when the movie's over and the things play. This one just came out of nowhere to me. Like it's I don't know. I wouldn't
yeah,
flip them. That's just me though.
yeah. Um, well, I mean, but at least it's not like they put Ignoreland at the end or
Oh,
something.
that would have been problematic. Yeah.
Yeah. But we talked about how both Stipe and Mills were not a fan of Ignoreland.
Mhm.
Um, they both have been quoted as saying "Find the River" is a favorite of theirs.
Really? Okay. And it is a
So
great track. Yeah, I have
yeah,
nothing wrong with the track other than positioning. I don't like it at the final spot.
yeah, yeah. I got you. Yep. Um, so man, I mean, there's so many great albums that we've covered already. Up until this point, is this your favorite one now, or
A runaway favorite at this point.
oh, Runaway?
Yeah, because the more I've listened to that, after, like I said, when you listen to all the albums, you're listening to them sporadically, you kind of have an idea in your head where they all sit.
Yeah,
But when you sit for a whole week with each album, you really have a bond with each one. This one's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I can't. The other ones just aren't in the same ballpark. Not that they're bad albums. It's just
yeah,
this one is just, like you said, it's perfection.
yeah. This is where, to me, this is where they already had "Losing My Religion."
Uh-huh.
They already had "The One I Love." They already had "It's the End of the World" as we know it, and I feel fine. But this is the one to me where the entire album
Mm-hmm.
stepped up, not just a certain hit songs or whatever.
Exactly.
Um, and yeah, I mean, I cannot believe that I do not own this on vinyl.
That
Um,
is, yeah. And I don't either. I can't say I don't either.
it's a travesty. I've had it in my hands so many times, between either $25 and $30. It's been remastered, reissued. I held it in my hand again today, to be honest with you.
Did you really?
And
Oh my gosh.
I have to get it because I have Monster and I have New Adventures on vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
And this little streak right here to me is just them at the peak of their powers.
It is.
So yeah, I will get it someday,
Yeah.
finally. I don't know what I've been waiting for. um, so yeah, man. I mean, for me, I am such a massive fan of their second album, Reckoning. Um, but this, yeah, I mean, this is the best album to date. I mean, I think we both agree.
I agree. Yep.
You said Runaway, which was, wow, even more than I
Well, when I
was
say
expecting.
Runaway, I'm not saying the other albums are bad. I'm
No,
just
no, no,
saying the
no.
one
Of
you're
course
holding in
not.
your hand right now is, I mean, when you're looking at classic rock albums, that's got to be. I don't even know where they list that on the Billboard Top 500, but it's got to be. That's got to
Oh,
be in the top 100. I imagine it's got to be in the top 100.
let's take a look.
Yeah, that's a good thing to know, but I'm pretty sure that's got to have a really high.
Well, and again, this book has baffled us in the past. So, like, absolutely no Genesis albums in this entire book. So, let's see how they do with REM here, buddy.
I'm gonna
Um,
say
okay, Automatic for the People. Yep, it is in here.
number 88.
Not in the top 100.
Oh, okay.
Take another guess.
120.
Not in the top 200.
Get out of here. Wow.
One more guess.
285.
244.
Damn, that's way too low.
Yep.
That's way too low. Because I know it's
Way
some of
too
those
low.
albums that are in the top 240, and they don't touch that album. So,
Well, let me see. They have two other REM albums in here. I want to see if either of them are higher. They probably Murmur must be. Yeah, Murmur is at, oh my gosh, should have my glasses on. 193,
wow.
195. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Murmur, no, I'm right. Never mind. I'm not sorry. Murmur is at 195 and Document is at 462. One
Wow.
again, Document had the one I love, and it's the end of the world.
I mean, I get it, but Automatic for the
So
People. Oh.
yeah, dude, this is a stone cold like
Yeah. Okay.
how to make a perfect album 101
Yeah,
starring R.E.M. I mean,
you ain't kidding.
yeah. So, folks, I hope you enjoyed this. Please, we will be doing Monster next, and Brad has no homework for that because he already has the notes done.
I've already done it.
All right, I'll be doing my notes. So it's all on me. So if it takes a while, it's totally me because you could film that tomorrow if we need to.
I could. Yeah, I could.
Well, let's let the folks chew on Automatic for a while and then listen
Certainly.
to Monster along with us. So we hope you're enjoying the Discnology series. These Discnology episodes take a little bit more homework and time than most of our other ones, but we feel they're worth it, especially for a band such as REM. So
Yep.
weigh in the comments. What are your thoughts up to this point? What are your thoughts on Automatic? What are your rankings so far? However you want to approach your comments. Please like this video, share it on social media, subscribe to the channel, smash the bell for notifications. We will be back with a monster of an album by REM called Monster as soon as we can. And thanks for your patience. Thanks for watching. More album reviews, more Goldilocks, lots of great stuff coming up. So stick with us here at the KMU Music Den. Brad, we just passed over 450 subscribers.
Oh, I
And
didn't see that. That's cool.
yeah, we're closing
Cool.
in on, I guess we're closing in eventually on 50,000 total views, right?
That's pretty good too.
So I think we're at 48 something now. So not bad. We've barely been doing this a full year and a half, and we're not that really all that good looking. So I mean, I don't know how we've got all these people, but
Yeah, we're certainly not bringing in the female demographics for our looks now.
no, man. I mean, if I'd ever shave more than once a year, maybe it would help. But
Yeah.
so, all right, folks. Thanks, and we appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon. And Monsters up next for REM Discnology. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks, Brad. Take care.
You got it.